Well, thank you all for joining. My name is Kasianchuk, and I am the Director of Health Coaching at Gennev. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and exercise physiologist, and I do work. I'm one of the coaches that works with our clients here at Gennev. So today I am hosting this webinar on sleep, stress, and coronavirus or COVID-19. Right now, we're offering weekly webinars that are going to be topics related to women's health, supporting you at this time, and during this coronavirus pandemic. So hopefully you can take the information here, apply it to your life. And then the other piece that you have the opportunity, if you're participating live, please feel free to put questions in the chat, whether it's on Facebook or on the Zoom recording, and I'll make sure to answer those throughout the presentation. So thank you all very much for joining. We'll give people a few more minutes just to log in and get set up before I dive into the information. I'll give you a little bit of information on Gennev in case you're new to Gennev. We are a women's health platform that's done remotely. We offer the health coaching, like I mentioned, and all of our coaches are registered dietitian nutritionists. I specifically have a background in exercise physiology, so our coaches are also able to provide exercise information in addition to nutrition. We also provide lifestyle strategies to help you manage things right now, during menopause, and even pre-menopause. It's really important that we're taking care of our health all throughout our lives, and we've seen that women haven't always gotten the support they need, and so we're setting out to change that. So a lot of things I can support women with are sleep and stress, which we're going to talk about today, even managing menopause symptoms with different lifestyle tactics that can be really helpful, and looking at how to best fit these strategies into your current life. We also have a telemedicine platform where we have OBGYNs who can support you in gynecological needs. And we also just recently launched primary care accessibility in some states where we can also help you with primary care needs, especially at this time where you don't want to be going to a doctor's office, but you still need to take care of your health. We can offer that over the phone and through video with our telemedicine providers. So keep that in mind. More information on our website, and feel free if you have any questions on that throughout the webinar today. I'm happy to take those as well. Want to really make sure that we're supporting you. All right, so our topic today, stress, sleep, and COVID-19, and really immune function. So I wanted to start off with some basics around stress, sleep, and immune function and how they connect. You may have a basic idea of this, but wanted to give you a little bit more of the connection. I think we all know the importance of sleep. Sleep is one of those things that I hear commonly with the clients. I wish I could get more sleep. Oftentimes the women that I'm working with during menopause, sleep is disrupted. It's hard to get good sleep during this time. But we know the importance of sleep. We all feel better when we're rested, and our bodies actually tell us when we're tired and when we need to get more sleep. The challenge is we don't always listen to that in our society today. Perhaps the silver lining to what we're experiencing right now is that we are being told to slow down, and that may provide opportunities for more sleep, which is really important to immune function. Now, stress can come in all different forms. There can be good stress, having a deadline that you're excited about, a project to work on, whether it be work related or otherwise. These are forms of good stress. When stress becomes more chronic or starts to give that feeling of suppression and anxiety, or sometimes it feels like a knot in your stomach or a decrease in appetite, or you're emotional, or perhaps you're more moody or quick to respond to things in ways that you don't feel is normal for you, that's when that chronic stress can take more of a toll on our body. Now, our immune system is very complex. We're not going to go into all the details of that today. That could be several webinars on its own, but it's a very intricate system that is set out to protect us. And really, we are on a daily basis, even before coronavirus, we face pathogens and invaders that enter our body in all sorts of ways, through our mouth, through our nose, through our eyes. Those are the common ways, but even things on our skin. And our immune system is able to fight those things that might be foreign to it, and making sure that it's helping to keep us healthy. So whenever there's an invader, the immune system sends out a message that says, it's an alarm system for the body. Something's not right. We need to take care of this. We need to remove it. We need to break it down, get it out of here. Let's go. So all of the immune antibodies, they go and they attack that foreign invader. Oftentimes this is happening all the time and we don't even know it. So we don't get a cold or flu every day, thankfully. But when the immune system just isn't quite able to fight that invader, that's when we notice symptoms. And that's a sign that the immune system is stressed. The immune system is taxed. It wasn't quite able to beat that invader before the symptoms started. And the symptoms are really part of an inflammation cascade. So the invader starts to create inflammation in the body, and that's when we may notice those symptoms related. Maybe it's a cough or sneezing, itchy eyes can be common ones, or in the case like we're noticing with coronavirus, it's that dry upper respiratory cough. And unfortunately, people that might already be immune compromised, so their immune system's already stressed, are having difficulty breathing, and that's where the complications are coming in. So we want our immune system to be as strong as possible all the time, but especially now. And when we aren't getting enough sleep, because sleep is the time that our body is repairing, and it's really the time that the body can fully rest. And when we're not getting enough sleep, and the recommendations are about 7 to 9 hours of restful sleep, then that can be an additional stress on the body. Can start to feel like I just didn't have quite enough. The immune system starts to feel like I just didn't have quite enough time to recover last night. And then you go into the next day under recovered from the day-to-day stress that happened before. And if you have something that's invading you, whether it be a virus or a pathogen of some sort, bacteria, the immune system may not be as strong to fight that. Now, if you have a poor night's sleep every now and then, chances are the body can compensate. Body has mechanisms to be able to work through times when there isn't, when there might be some things that are off. So if it's one day here or there, probably going to be okay. When we get concerned is when sleep is poor, whether it's poor quality or less than that 7 to 9 hours on a consistent basis, maybe over months. I work with some clients, unfortunately, over years. They've had poor sleep, and they do notice the impacts on, they're often sick more often. They don't have the energy, they don't have the stamina to do the things they used to, and to really show up to the day like they'd like to. So we know that sleep can impact that, and part of that can place additional stress on the immune system. And when you want your immune system showing up for you right now, getting that optimal sleep is really important. We're going to talk about some strategies down the line, but I wanted to just go next into stress. So I mentioned that stress can be good and bad. Eustress or distress. So eustress is that positive stress, maybe that excitement, that anticipation of doing something new, or celebrating with friends. These are getting to see someone you haven't seen in a while. These are all forms of good stress, stress that's good for us. Exercise is actually a form of good stress as well. It places a stress on the body, but how the body responds, it actually helps to strengthen basically the stress response and the resiliency of the body. Now, on the other hand, this negative stress is going to be things that are more chronic, long-term, whether it's work stress that's really negative, or if it's interactions with coworkers or colleagues or family, friends that aren't feeling good for you. And again, typically we notice that we have a pit in our stomach. There's something in our demeanor. Maybe our response tends to be more short than we typically would be. These are all signs of distress, or stress that's not helpful for our health and our wellness. And again, if this type of stress is normal to happen on occasion. What we want is to have mechanisms and strategies to manage our response to the stress so that the stress load doesn't become chronic. It's that chronic load that again adds additional stress to our body and can compromise our immune system because the immune system's connected to all the things we're working on. So if we're constantly stressed or anxious about things, it could impact our sleep. So keep us up at night and then we're missing out on the sleep to support the immune system. And that additional stress just takes away from the immune system. So the immune system is not ready to fight like we want it to. We want it to be a full shield of armor as we walk into our day, even if we're just staying in our house. But certainly right now, if we're walking around outside, those are the types of things that we want to make sure our immune system is showing up for us 100%. So that's a little bit of background on the connection of sleep, stress, immune function, and really we want that immune system to be as strong as possible right now where we know that COVID-19 is out there and we can't see it. So we want that armor to protect us. I'm going to take a little pause to see if there's any questions related to some of those basics in terms of the connections between sleep, stress, and immune function. Anything out there from our viewers that you'd like more information on? Next, we'll be going into some strategies to help you. So those are coming. Okay, so question from one of our panelists, one of our viewers, what do you think about OTC sleep aids, so over-the-counter sleep aids? Great question. So there are those out there, things like Tylenol PM or Aleve. There are some that have that can have that drowsiness effect. And these, especially if you're taking them because your sleep is being disrupted due to pain, then using these as a temporary option may be okay to help decrease some of that inflammation temporarily to allow you to get some sleep until that inflammation heals. Now, that it should not be a long-term approach. This is more of a band-aid, and what the approach that I like to use with my clients and that we do with all of the support we provide at Gennev is a more holistic approach. So we want to get to the cause and provide you with lifestyle strategies or supportive supplements if necessary that treat the cause versus just the symptoms. And so over-the-counter sleep aids are really just treating the symptoms, and they actually, in a lot of cases, aren't providing the quality of sleep. You may feel like you're getting more sleep because you might feel more drowsy. They can help you to go to sleep faster. But oftentimes, and I have clients that report that when they've taken these before, they wake up and they're more tired or they don't feel like they're getting restful sleep. And that the quality of sleep is also important. So I wouldn't recommend using these long term. If you're working with a physician and they've recommended them to you for a short-term basis, that may be appropriate, especially if you're dealing with inflammation and pain. But really incorporating more lifestyle strategies like we're going to talk about can get you farther and support your health in a better way. All right, so next question. What if I'm not sleeping because of stress? And this is so common right now. I would say, and interestingly, the clients I've talked to this week, it's been a theme. People are just feeling more tired. And I think it's important to recognize that even if you are confined to your house, maybe you're not moving as much as you used to, maybe your routine seems in theory to have slowed down, the information that we're getting from all of the sources can still stress the nervous system. And we may not even realize it. It doesn't feel like our heart rate is racing. It doesn't feel, and we might be getting some things passively, but know that that can stress your central nervous system and can require energy for your body to process that. And you may feel more fatigued. At the same time, if that stress is keeping you up at night and you're staying awake, that can certainly be a problem. What I recommend for my clients when it comes to that is starting off with deep breathing. That can be a very simple exercise where you're breathing in heavily through your nose, big deep breaths, typically holding to about the count of 4, and then exhaling throughout your mouth, and repeating this several times and really trying to focus on your breath. It's a very simple, doesn't require any devices, doesn't require any equipment, and the power of our breath is really important to supporting our immune function, as well as with stress management. Now, I do have some clients that say, I can't focus on my breath. I have too many things going in my head that's just not realistic. So in those cases, a guided meditation, whether it be through an app, Headspace right now is offering free Headspace subscriptions to healthcare workers. So if you're a healthcare worker, especially if you're on the front lines, but even if you're not and you're taking care of the health of other people right now, take advantage of that offer. And they do offer, if you're not a healthcare worker, Headspace does offer a free initial trial. And there's a lot of different guided meditations around sleep specifically that can be helpful. Calm is another app, as well as Insight Timer. These are great ones that I've tried and my clients have tried with success in terms of helping to turn off the brain, provide some more calming meditation-based music, and being able to shift and to support your sleep at night. The other thing that you can also do is simply just meditation music. Channels on Pandora or Spotify. You can put in spa meditation music. They usually have some soothing nature songs or some great options as well. Just keep in mind, if you have the free version, you will have advertisements, so those might wake you up. But yes, those are some options that have been successful for my clients and really just help to calm the brain and the body with that way. And the advantage of just putting the earbuds in, limiting the screen time, you want to not you want to avoid as much blue light as possible during the night, because that can also disrupt your sleep. Great question. So another question, my stress levels are up because I'm busy cooking meals, educating my kids, trying to work at home. Any suggestions for quick ways to relieve my stress amid the chaos? There is chaos out there. And it's been interesting to see, both with my clients, in my own life, hearing from my coworkers, and all of us we're making our way. And this is certainly unprecedented times. There isn't a rule book for this. Perhaps we're creating the rule book. Hopefully we don't have this happen again, but history has a funny way of repeating itself in different forms. But we are all essentially on the front lines in terms of navigating these new routines for us. And that's really what I recommend starting with. How can you develop a routine, make it realistic, and give yourself credit for all that you're doing? Right now, because there isn't a rule book, we know that everyone is trying to do their best, and giving yourself credit that you are doing the best you can is a great first step in recognizing that you're not giving up on this, but it is hard and you're trying to manage as best as possible. Now, that being said, when it comes to things like cooking, being okay with easy meals, and perhaps that's ordering takeout from a local restaurant that needs your support, that can be a great way to alleviate the cooking. Have that meal, go pick it up, or if they're doing delivery, bring that home, and then take that off your plate of having to deliver a meal. If you can do it once a week, twice a week, that could be a great way to relieve some of that stress around meal preparation. The other thing is looking at meal delivery services. There's a lot of them out there that really offer meals that are healthy, a variety of different nutrients, whole foods. The ones that come to mind that I recommend to clients are Sunbasket and Thistle, and even HelloFresh. Those ones tend to have a good variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins that can be really supportive of adequate nutrition during this stressful time. And nutrition is also something that can support your immune system. So when the stress hits, I do encourage you, what is something that you can make simpler, do simpler, and take something off your plate? So those are some ways that my clients have been finding some success in that. Even delivery options for groceries. So a lot of the major grocery stores are delivering. If you have Amazon Fresh near you, that's an option. I know in some areas where there are farmers markets that have been closed down, the farming vendors are willing to deliver to you, or they're doing community supported agriculture boxes. So again, that takes the stress out of having to go to a grocery store, having to plan the time to do that. You have things that can be delivered to your house. So those are some ways to cut some corners right now, and that's totally okay. The other thing on educating kids, and I'll put out there that I am not a public school or private school educator. I do teach at the college level, and we are going to be moving the whole term online. I'm used to teaching online, so that is my area of expertise, but I think there's also there's a lot of value right now to realizing this is real life, and we have the opportunity to change the structure for our kids and trust that if we are laying a strong foundation for them and getting creative, using the resources out there, so many free education resources out there, our kids are going to be okay. And if we reassure them, get them in the kitchen cooking with you, give them small tasks to do. Young kids, they can perhaps, if they're 3, 4, or 5, perhaps they're just pouring some of the ingredients into a bowl that you've measured out. If they're older, they can start measuring. That's great math for them, and have fun with it. There might be some flour on the floor. There might be some messes that need to be cleaned up, but know that you're helping them through a hard time by teaching them skills and supporting them in a creative way. So that's some things that you can do with kids. And then obviously with the work from home, this is something that is a challenge for many families right now when childcare is no longer an option and you're working remotely. Again, comes back to that routine, and perhaps setting routine times where you're focusing and your kids have an activity that you're focused on, and then give yourself a break. Maybe then you're going outside, everyone's getting movement, you're doing more things together. A lot of my clients are doing family walks, whether it's before dinner or after dinner, and they're really enjoying that time together. And it's a set time, so it's part of their routine, and they're finding that it's just a great way to connect, and they're getting more activity than they have in the past. So that's another way to take advantage of that, can relieve some stress amidst the chaos. So those are some tips. Certainly there could be some other things specific to your situation, but those would be some recommendations to start with that I've seen be successful so far for the women I'm working with right now. All right, so another one, working from home. Do I need to keep the same sleep schedule even though I no longer need to commute? Great question. So we want to make sure, going back to the sleep, want to make sure you're getting at least 7 hours of sleep. So I would say if you're, as long as you're doing that, and you can even push towards 9, there's no harm right now where our immune systems are probably on overdrive, whether we know it or not, and we know that there's a risk out there that we're getting more than that 7-hour minimum requirement. So I would say that if you could take advantage of this time and get more sleep, prioritize that, even if it's just an extra half hour. If you go to bed a half hour earlier, wake up a half hour later, you got yourself a whole extra hour, and that can really make a difference. I think we all know the difference between, the difference between 6 and 7 hours of sleep. You can feel it. Same thing between 7 and 8. Typically, we can feel that difference, and that over time, especially if you're being consistent with that, can help you. So if you don't need to commute and you can add more sleep and you're able to stay asleep that long, go for it. That would be something that I would recommend. And then as far as the shift of the sleep schedule, waking and going to bed at the same time is recommended for overall sleep. But if you shift that right now, perhaps you're staying up a little bit later and sleeping in, that can be okay. I just recommend being consistent with it, and making sure that you're aiming for at a minimum 7 hours. Right now, more would probably be better. So again, that 7 to 9 hours is what's been shown to be most supportive of immune function and health. So getting close to that 9 hours is probably where you want to be right now if you could do it. All right, so another question here. Any ideas for daily positive mantras I should think of in the morning to get me off to a better start? So important of starting the day on the right foot. As an exercise enthusiast that I am, I've been really inspired by so many group exercise instructors that are sending out these mantras. And A lot of the ones that come to mind for me that resonate for exercise as well as during the day is just to remember that we are stronger than we think we are. We have a tendency to err on what we can't do rather than what we can. And right now, what we need to do is we all need to focus on what we can do, what we can control, because that's how we're going to get through this together. So stronger, remind yourself that you're stronger than you think you are. I have clients that have sticky notes on mirrors or computers to just kind of bring that back to them. I also think that going back to trying to do as much as you can right now in this midst of chaos is reminding yourself that you are enough as you are, and you are doing enough. I promise you, there's no one out there that's not doing enough right now. And what enough is may look different for different individuals. But once you start that feeling of, oh, I'm not doing enough, when that grief or the shame or guilt creeps in, stop yourself and remind you, I am enough, I am doing enough, and then move forward. And so it's a great way to start your day. So those are some that come to my mind. We're all stronger than we think we are. We are all enough, and we are all doing enough. Really helpful to kind of start the day with that. Great questions, and I've started going into some of the strategies that can be helpful for us all right now. So I'm going to go into a few more to give you some takeaway tips that you can bring to supporting your sleep routine and managing stress. But keep the questions coming. I'd love to respond to those. Again, this information is for you, so we really want to make sure that we're giving you what you need. All right. So I talked about creating a routine. That can be a great way to be in control. So you're able to focus on what you can control. You know what's coming. Your family knows what's coming. Part of what can make things stressful right now with kids is that when they're in school, they are used to a routine. And now all of a sudden that routine's been changed around. And depending on their age, they may or may not really recognize that. And they can also be trying to deal with things that that are difficult for them, but they may not know how to express it because that's new and something that they haven't experienced before. So if you can establish a routine for your family, so everyone's getting up at the same time, if you have the opportunity to have breakfast together, meals as a family is an amazing thing for everybody's nutrition. There's research to show that digestion can benefit when meals are shared. From a kid standpoint, having meals as a family, we see kids that do that during their childhood have better nutrition when they're growing up. So an opportunity to make meals part of that routine and regular. And then, like I mentioned, if you are in a situation where you're working at home and your kids are homeschooling, can you find ways that you both have time separate where you're working on your work-related tasks, as well as maybe sometimes together? So can you mimic a noon recess for your kids where you also get outside and you get a walk? Same thing at the end of the day, something that's close to maybe if they walk home from school, how do you create that activity that they're used to having? And then for you and exercise is so important to support your immune system. So incorporating exercise into your routine, it can be as simple as just a walk, a mindless walk even, where you just let yourself decompress and maybe wander the neighborhood aimlessly, or something that's more intentional, a run outside, or if you have access to equipment to exercise in your house, as well as there's a lot of free resources out there, from apps to online programs to Instagram lives, where you can get your body moving in a different way. You can use some equipment to no equipment, and you can be in your own home. So incorporating that exercise to support your immune function is also something I would recommend in that routine. And in turn, that can also help to manage stress and support your sleep. We know that individuals who exercise more regularly typically have better sleep. So that's another thing there as well. And also for our women out there who are in the midst of perimenopause or postmenopause, managing these symptoms among everything else, what another layer to add to this, huh? Exercise is also great for helping with hot flashes. It can decrease the intensity or decrease the frequency. And again, supporting the more optimal sleep that we know tends to be more disrupted during menopause. So from there, thinking about sleep specifically, also having a routine. So what is the wind down routine at night? What does that look like? How do you start slowing down, whether it be after dinner? Maybe there is some screen time with the whole family, and then recommendations allow about an hour of no screen time before trying to get to bed, so that any blue light exposure is minimized when you're trying to go to sleep. Having something like chamomile tea, sleepy time tea, these can be great ways to just slow things down and can support your body's ability to fall asleep. Sometimes those warm beverages are also helpful in just feeling soothing and comforting before bed. And even something like golden milk, which has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, this can be something that can be beneficial as well. The other thing from a food standpoint that can help with sleep is tart cherry juice. So specifically the Montmorency tart cherries. So it has to be 100% tart cherry juice, but you can typically find this in the juice aisle. Just check the label, make sure there's nothing else added. And about 8 ounces of this, it can help with sleep. You want to have it about 30 minutes before falling asleep. And if you are a woman that is experiencing night sweats or hot flashes, and the idea of hot tea before bed just makes you want to crawl out of your skin, have some tart cherry juice with ice. And that way, that cooling can help to cool your core body temperature as well, and may help to decrease the intensity or the frequency of those hot flashes or night sweats. So that's another strategy to try there. You also want to make sure that your room temperature is cooler, ideally in the range of 66 to 68 degrees or cooler. And if you are in menopause, being even cooler may be helpful to be able to help manage night sweats if you're having them. So having that temperature in the room or the whole house can be helpful also for getting a good night's sleep. Even if you are premenopausal, sleeping at a cooler temperature is beneficial for sleep quality. And then also incorporating perhaps any type of meditation music or apps as you're winding down and going to sleep. I would recommend taking time away from the news, away from social media before bed, especially right now. It can be a way that's going to rev that brain up during a time when you're trying to fall asleep, and just really not ideal when sleep is really important to support our immune function. So limit that right now, maybe save it for a time, whether it's mid-morning or early afternoon, when you can digest that and process it without it interrupting your sleep. So those are some recommendations on sleep to think about in terms of really making a good sleep environment. And now, especially if you have kids that are home from college that hadn't been there in a while, you may have to talk to them also about, okay, we all need to be getting sleep right now. This is why it's important to support everyone's immune system. How can we work together to do this as a family? Because it's really important for everyone to stay healthy. Any questions on sleep specifically before I go into some stress management strategies? And actually, as you're thinking of questions around sleep, I do have some recommendations. In addition to the tart cherry juice, some options that are better than the sleep aids that you could try from a supplement standpoint. Magnesium would certainly be an option to help support sleep. And so taking magnesium anywhere from 200 to 400 milligrams about a half hour before sleep may help you to fall asleep or stay asleep. So that's another option from a supplement standpoint that would be a better alternative than the over-the-counter sleep aids. And then black cohosh is another one that is really supportive for women during perimenopause and postmenopause, can help to minimize night sweats and hot flashes and therefore support your sleep in that way. Both of these we do sell through our store online at Gennev, and they've been formulated with a naturopathic doctor that we consult with, and they're specifically made for women during this time of life. So keep that in mind if that's something that you are interested in. That is available to you, and we do offer those on our website. We got a question about those. When should I take the magnesium and black cohosh to get the most out of them before sleep? Typically, I recommend within 60 to 30 minutes before going to sleep, so that it can get into your system and then help you with falling asleep. That's typically what I recommend. If with the magnesium, you can only remember to take it in the morning, there still may be some benefits if you're taking it daily. Both of these, you want to be taking them consistently. Typically, they're going to take time to build up in your system to be able to notice the effects. It's different from a sleep aid where you may notice that effect right that night. These may take some time for your body to acclimate. Seeing some women takes a week or less and they notice a difference. Other women, it may take longer than a month or more, up closer to a month. It really just depends on the individual, but consistency is key. Another question on sleep: wine makes me sleepy, but others say no, not to drink wine before bed. Why not? Alcohol does give us that more drowsy feeling and certainly can make you fall asleep. However, the sleep quality is not what we want it to be. Oftentimes, if you fall asleep due to having had a few glasses of wine, you're probably going to wake up. Oftentimes, what people will notice is that once the alcohol wears off, they're wide awake, and so that can disrupt their sleep. And even if you stay asleep through that, when we look at sleep studies during when alcohol has been consumed, we see that the individual is not able to reach that deep sleep that is so important for the recovery of our bodies and the support for the immune system. So even though it may make you feel tired, the quality of sleep that you're getting is really not to the point that you would want it to be. So just keep that in mind. You can still enjoy your wine, but you may want to prioritize the days or decrease the amount so that you are able, so it's not going to impact your sleep as much. And the recommendations from a alcohol standpoint for women is 1 drink per day or less. All right. So now going into just some strategies around stress management. I talked about taking a deep breath. The power of taking a deep breath is so amazing. In fact, let's all take a deep breath right now. So let's practice those deep breaths. I'm sure we can all use it. And so I'm going to hold my hand up, my fingers up, so that you'll see to inhale to the count of 4 and then exhale as I take my fingers down, and I'll join you in this deep breath. So really want to be inhaling through your nose, let that air go all the way through your body, fill your belly, and then we'll press it back out again. So let's all take a deep breath right here. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good work. I don't know if any of you noticed in that, just that slowing down, that intentional deep breath is so important to what we need right now. And that's so simple. And I think sometimes people think it's too simple. There's no way that it could work. But we know from years of practice of different groups that have practiced meditation consistently. So if you think of Buddhism, as well as a lot of different religions or different yoga practices, that power of the breath to heal the body is really, really amazing. the key is that we have to do it consistently. It is a practice for a reason, and doing this throughout the day can be helpful. Even if it's 2 or 5 minutes at a time, we could see a decrease in your resting heart rate. So that means that your heart isn't working as hard. So that's again less stress on the system, so that immune system can shine. And it also, that exhalation specifically activates our parasympathetic nervous system. This is our rest and digest, and it's the counterbalance to our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. Right now, we got a lot of fight or flighting going on, to no fault of any of us, but it really, there's a lot. There's a lot. We feel it, we hear it. And so taking that time to balance, to activate that parasympathetic nervous system can really strengthen that part of our body that we need right now to show up for us when it comes to our immune system. So taking a deep breath is the first thing that I would recommend, just practicing that. And that could be something that you do first thing when you wake up in the morning. Again, that routine, maybe you do it as a family before eating, or doing it while you're walking, or taking a step back from your day in the middle of your workday, especially if things are getting stressful, taking that deep breath. So that's a basic strategy. Other things, again, mindfulness, meditation, finding time to spend with people socially can be a really great way to manage stress. Right now, socially distance in a lot of different ways, like Zoom, FaceTime, any type of connections that you can have where you can see the person specifically. You really get the benefits from seeing the interactions, and maybe you allot time to unloading things that are stressful, things that are concerning to you, but then switch to joy. What is bringing you joy? What are you grateful for? We are in the midst of a really hard time, but among all of that, I am confident that every one of us on this panel, as well as out there in the world, can find one thing we are grateful for. And focusing on that gratefulness and that gratitude is really important. And we know that gratitude practice does have benefits to the immune system, has benefits to our mental health, and can really help to get us through this time, because we need to be grateful. We have a lot to work through, but focusing on all of that stuff can get pretty heavy. So focusing on things that bring us joy are really important. So I encourage you to have those conversations with people and use this time to connect. Perhaps it's reaching out to someone you haven't reached out to in a while, or it's just keeping those social connections going that you have. I know for myself, with friends, we've done a lot of Zoom happy hours. It's definitely not the same, but at least we're able to have fun, joke about things, enjoy a beverage, maybe some snacks in our house, and while other people at their house are doing that. And if anything, this really makes me look forward to when we're all going to be together again. So thinking about how great it's going to be to have a happy hour in someone's house, to meet to go out to eat, to meet to go exercise, brings me joy thinking about that, because it will happen again, and looking forward to that is really important. Other things when it comes to stress management, I do also want to let you know that if you are experiencing stress that is just difficult to handle, and deep breathing is not getting you through, having the outlets that you have don't feel the support that you need, know that there are resources out there. Reach out to get professional therapeutic help, whether it's with a therapist, a psychologist, or psychiatrist, and make sure that you're getting the help that you need and that you deserve. So you certainly are worth that extra support. And if times like this push you in a direction that you don't feel like you're able to manage on your own, it's really important that you reach out to help with that. And that can be as simple as reaching out to your primary care physician to get a referral. There's a lot of different online options as well now for therapy. And feel free to, and we can perhaps post a list of those as well to make those available to you, because we want to make sure that you're feeling supported, also from a mental health standpoint. So important right now that we're looking out for each other. Same thing if you have concerns about other people, make sure that you're encouraging them to get the help that they need. All right. Any other questions right now before I wrap it up with just some take-home points?
Stacy. I have one on Facebook. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So we got one
Okay.
on Facebook.
Yeah. So Mary is asking, is there any contraindication for magnesium? I
Mhm.
have IBS and take
Mhm.
Metamucil and allopurinol and a couple of other medications.
And the question was, is there any contraindications when it comes to magnesium? This participant mentioned that she has IBS and is taking some other medications with it. So when it comes to magnesium, especially with supplementation, one side effect can be more movement to your bowels. And so if you have IBS, what I would recommend is starting off at a very low dose. So depending on, usually the capsules are anywhere between 100 to 150 milligrams. So I would start with one capsule before increasing to that 200 to 400 recommendation I gave. If that one capsule does cause GI upset, then I would not use magnesium in that case because, increasing it's probably going to get worse. Sometimes it can improve digestion as well, especially if you have more of constipation. Magnesium may actually help with more bowel regularity as well. So experiment with that. It can also be, depending on the form, I recommend the magnesium glycinate from a bioavailability standpoint and in support of sleep, but certainly there's magnesium bicyclinate, and there's also, I think, magnesium carbonate. So you could experiment with the different forms as well to see if it works better for you. Another question here, how early should we have wine before bed? So another one here where I would use the recommendation of the probably 2 hours and stop drinking wine about 2 hours before bed to avoid the potential disruption of sleep. Chances are if you have alcohol anytime in the evening, there's going to be some effect to your sleep, but the earlier on, the less. And the less amount of alcohol you have, the less impact. So keep that in mind as well. So if you have, you say 1 or 2 glasses and you stop drinking that wine 2 hours before bed, you're going to be better off than say if you have those 2 glasses within a half hour before going to bed. Same thing if you have 4 glasses and allow 2 hours, you're going to have less of effect if you have 2 glasses and the 2 hours. So there definitely is impact of the amount and the timing. All right. Well, thank you so much all for your participation. I want to just remind you, so when it comes to sleep, stress, and immune function, our immune system is our armor right now, and we want to be showing up with as much of that armor on, all put together as much as possible. And both stress and sleep, if they are suboptimal, so high levels of stress, low levels of sleep, can impact the ability of our immune system to do what we need it to do right now. So finding what you can do within your capacity to get the 7 to 9 hours of sleep at least, and minimizing stress as much as possible, being realistic that all stress right now is probably not going to go away, but whatever you can do to decrease the amount of stress you have is going to be beneficial. And we are here for you. I would love to take more of you on with as your coach and to be able to help you through this situation remotely and to be able to support you. And I just got a question. How can I talk with you about my situation? All right. So please sign up for our Health Fix subscription. And you can do that by going to our website. We now have 2 options. So we have the Health Fix Basic, which consists of unlimited coaching. So you can have calls with a health coach as many times per month as you feel necessary. And that's something on the first call, you and your coach will figure out what that call cadence can look like. We also have our Health Fix Premium. This includes unlimited coaching calls with a health coach, as well as unlimited telemedicine appointments. So if you're interested in also adding on, whether it's primary care in the states that we have the primary care, and that's listed on our website, or gynecological care with our OBGYNs, then you have that option to do that. And it's an amazing price, $75 a month for that, which gets you unlimited doctor access, unlimited health coach access. It's an amazing deal. The health coach basic is $25 a month. So if you're really just looking for the working with a health coach on more lifestyle strategies, then by all means, please sign up for that. But know that both options are available to you, and we look forward to working with you soon. Stay healthy, take care, and we'll be back next week at the same time with another live situation, and this one will be looking at nutrition specifically and immune function. So make sure you tune in for that. And with all of these, we'll be sending out the link. So if you aren't able to make it, you'll be able to get the recording, but we welcome you to be able to join in at this time so we can get your questions and answer them. Thanks all. Have a great rest of your day, and stay healthy and well, and we're here to support you.